All right,
Yes.
takeaway time. Tim, take us away with takeaways.
All right. Well, we started with the honest no BS question: when is data and AI governance truly a business enabler? And you honed in right away after we asked that question on, hey, when I talk to people, they have this wrong impression. And perhaps in places that don't get exposed to as much kind of governance content all the time, because later you mentioned that a lot of the governance content, especially some of the newer content around enablement and things like that, is it's an English language and an English audience, right? That there's this dominant view that governance is around control, bureaucracy, policies, procedure, red tape, and honestly, it's that's the initial impression everywhere. And your response to that is no. It's about enabling people to drive value and iterating with data. And why? Because we're data people. We get all worked up about technology and the frameworks, and we have this wonky language. And if we don't talk to each other and collaborate and be iterative about it, then we won't actually get traction. And so that's where the rubber meets the road, is this collaboration, this talking, this listening. And I think that's a theme throughout the episode today. When they ask, how does this help the business? You can't say, I don't know. That is not an acceptable answer. How do we get people outside this bubble? And you're a professor, and so you're working with students and other teachers on how to help people overcome this. And you said that students are on the technical side, some of them are on the business side. That you have these people introduce themselves to you and what their role is, and start the conversation by understanding each individual and what it is that drives them. What is their daily job? What is their current data challenge? And not
Hmm.
just share that with you, but share it with each other. And it's allowing them to understand where each other are coming from, meeting people where they are. And then when you have the opportunity to do this and marry these different perspectives together, it unlocks more. And you mentioned that in your final presentations, when these kind of multidisciplinary, multi-perspective teams come together, they do better, right? And they're able to cover strategy, business goals, business objectives, data strategy, data roadmap, data goals. You're able to do all of it when you bring that multidisciplinary team together. So that cross pollination becomes really important, and they learn what governance is really supposed to be about, which is about people and value. So, Juan, what were your takeaways?
Well, I love that we got into the whole DAMA, and right, the question was like, are things too structured? What's working? What's not working? And the honest hope is like DAMA is just a really great frame of reference, right? And so
Hmm.
what is it? That's the most important. It gives you some goals and focus. It's not a playbook that you go do chapter by chapter. It's not you say I've implemented 100% of the DAMA framework. That no one has said, because that is completely unrealistic. And then there's other things to consider around frameworks. Like we talked a lot about culture in this episode, right? Different companies have different cultures, something more formal, less formal, different age differences will imply a lot about this stuff, right? And by leveraging these frameworks like DAMA, you can drive alignment faster with leaders, especially valuable when you're earlier in your career or in life, basically, right? And another kind of framework to put around this is like be open and empathetic to the needs that you have, and combine. It's about being listening and understanding people, meeting them where they are. And I like an example of what governance is. Like people think about it as like, hey, I can just do everything. Why do I have all these tools that it doesn't? I don't understand why I have these tools. I could just do things quote unquote easier if I can just write a bunch of Python or whatever. But if you don't have some controls in place, some guardrails around this, then things can go crazy and have a free for all. And that is governance. Is also to be able to avoid that whole free for all. And we close with like it's very clear how you're somebody who can go up and down that elevator from the engine room to the strategy penthouse. And how can other people get to that? And I loved your advice, which is one, make sure that you are doing what you love the most. That's the number one thing. If you're in this you love data, that's great. And since you're doing what you really love, then make sure that you're providing value to others.
Hmm.
And then with that, just be kind and open and listen. And don't forget that we're technologists working data, but we're also humans. We're people too. So, anything we missed?
No, I think that's it.